Hi guys, welcome to my channel. I hope you're all good. So today we're going to be talking all about credit scores, and we're going to be talking about why they're important, what it actually is, and how to build and improve your credit score. Also, quick disclaimer, I'm no financial advisor and I'm definitely not like a credit score expert or anything like that. This is just information that I found from my own research, and I thought it would be something that you guys would be interested in. A credit score is something that is used by lenders, and they basically use it to see how reliable you are. So say for example, if you want to get a mortgage or you want to get a car on finance, then they're going to have a look at your credit score, because this is an indicator to see how reliable you are as a person when it comes to paying things back and things like that. So to get your score, they use the information that is in your credit report. The credit report is basically the in-depth detail about your credit history. So in there, they'll have information about, like, do you have a car on finance? Do you have a credit card? Have you ever missed a payment? And things like that. So basically, you've just got to think to yourself that the score is the number and the report gives all of the information. I feel like with your credit report, you've kind of got to imagine that, like, we live our normal lives and we go on, but then your credit report is taking notes. So like, say for example, you miss a payment, then your credit report is going to take a note of that. Or if you pay something late, then your credit report is going to take a note of that. And then from the report, you'll get given your score. So why is it important? It's important because if you want to get a mortgage, you want to get a car on finance, you want to get a credit card or whatever, lenders are going to have a look at your credit score because they really want to know what type of person are they lending their money to, and are they going to get their money back. So let's just make it real simple. Imagine being in a group of friends and one friend comes up to you and they're like, "Oh, it's alright if I borrow some money off you?" And you know that this friend has borrowed money off some of your other friends before. So then you go and ask your other friends, like, "Oh, what was it like when she borrowed the money off you? Like, did everything go okay?" And then your friends come back and say, yeah, she paid on time, she was really good, I got my money back quickly, she was just amazing, everything went smoothly. So then me as a friend, I'm thinking, okay, yeah, I'll lend her money, that's fine. Now let's imagine if a different friend asks if they can borrow money, and you know that this friend has also borrowed money from some of your other friends. So then you kind of say to your other friends, "Oh, what was it like when she borrowed the money?" And then they report back to you and they're like, "Well, actually, she still hasn't paid me. She was late when she paid me. She's been asking loads of people if she can borrow money. Like, don't know what's going on with this girl. She seems a little bit out of control." So imagine now I'm thinking, I'm not going to lend this girl money. Like, this seems a bit risky. How can I guarantee that I'm going to get my money back? Because look at what she's been like with the other friends before. That is basically the same thing that happens, but with lenders. And obviously when it comes to the credit world, it's not your friends, it's going to be things like mortgages, car finance, credit cards, etc. But your credit score is really important because it does widen your options. So let's say for example, you wanted to get a credit card. So if you've got bad credit, then the chances are that the interest rates will be higher and you won't be able to borrow as much as someone with good credit, because you'll be seen as a more risky person to lend to. So yeah, having a good report really just gives you more options. So how is the score calculated? So there are three main credit reference agencies. There is TransUnion, Equifax and Experian. Different lenders will work with different agencies and they are all scored differently, so it's important to check with your lender which one they use, but the most common one in the UK is Experian. So today I'm just going to focus on Experian. So with Experian, you can just sign up online and they'll be able to tell you your credit score. They have got an app as well, which makes it so easy to just keep an eye on your score. You can upgrade, and I think it's like £14 a month or something like that. You can upgrade, and then that way you can get like the full in-depth information on your actual report. So basically with Experian, you get given a score between 0 and 999. I'll leave a little graph on the screen, but basically there's different ranges. So you can either be like very poor, poor, fair, good, or excellent. So depending on what your score is, it depends on like where you fit in the little grading system. So what affects your credit score? So they're going to have a look into your payment history. So this is things like missed payments, late payments. So for example, it could be an electricity bill. If for whatever reason you never paid that bill once, then that is going to be in your credit score, and that is obviously going to show up really badly. Any missed or late payments is a sign that someone is unreliable, and you've got to think to yourself, would you lend money to someone who doesn't pay it back, or they don't pay it on time? So this is basically what the lenders are thinking. They don't want to see that you are an unreliable person who doesn't pay things on time or pay it back. So definitely get into the habit of not procrastinating when it comes to finances. Like, if you know that there's a bill you've got to set it up straight away, and set it up using a direct debit so that you know that like the payment just goes out and you haven't then ended up paying something late. But definitely just always make sure you're paying things on time. The next thing they're going to look at is your credit utilization. So this is basically your debt versus your limit. So let's say for example with a credit card, you've got a credit card limit of £1,000. If every month you're using £900 of that card, they're going to see your credit utilisation as really high, and this is a bad thing because they're going to be looking and thinking, well, why do you need to spend that much on a credit card? They'll be looking at that and thinking, is this person struggling? Are they okay? Like, why are they needing to use so much credit? And I guess they kind of look at it in a way to say, like, if you're having to practically max out a credit card every single month, like, what is happening? Do you know what I mean? So they recommend keeping the amount of credit you use within 30% of your limits. So say, for example, if you've got a credit card limit of £1,000, then that's like maximum £300, and just pay it off every month. So even when people say about getting a credit card to build your credit, it's not a case of getting a credit card, maxing it out every month, then paying it off. It's a case of being within like 30%. I mean, preferably less, obviously, but it's a case of like being really within those boundaries. Otherwise, they'll look and be like, is everything okay? Like, what's going on? They're also going to have a look at the length of your credit history and how long you've been able to manage it, because this all works in your favor. So let's say, for example, you've got someone who's been managing their credit really well for 3 years, then it's going to be easier to see them as reliable compared to someone who's been managing their credit well for a month, if that makes sense. So the length of time is really important. So I know that personally, and I do mean personally, so I'm not saying that you have to do this, but personally, I've had an overdraft since I was 20, so for about 3 years now. And the other day I was like, oh, I'm just gonna cancel and close the whole thing. But actually, the fact that I've been able to have it for 3 years and it's not out of control kind of is a good sign. And if I was to close it and cancel it, then it's almost like the history would be done with, and it would just be like, okay, whatever. Whereas if they can see for like a longer amount of time, like, okay, like she manages her overdraft well, then that should hopefully work in my favor. Also, having a mix of credit promotes a higher score. So say, for example, you might have car finance, a mortgage, a credit card, a phone bill, a water bill, whatever. Having a mix of all these different things will work in your favor, because they'll be looking at that and thinking, wow, amazing, you can like manage all of this and you're doing so well, congratulations. So then that will work in your favor. Whereas say, for example, if you've only got like one type of credit and you've only got like all credit cards, they'll be like, whoa, like, is everything okay? Like, what's going on? Do you know what I mean? So it's good to have a mixture of different things. They'll also have a look into how many credit applications you've made. So let's just say, for example, all of a sudden you've decided to apply for 10 credit cards. They're going to be like, hun, is everything okay? Like, what's going on? And it's kind of like a sign of desperation. So then they're going to be thinking like, what is going on? Is everything okay? And then this will negatively impact your score. So obviously when you apply for credit, then this is going to come up in your report. So say, for example, with me, your girl is hopefully getting a new car soon. So then I can see on my report like where the application's been made, if that makes sense. But can you imagine if I just had loads of them on my account, like this credit card here, this credit card there, this car finance here, this credit card, this and this and this. So they're going to be looking at that and being like, oh my God, like what the hell's going on? So yeah, I would definitely recommend spacing out your applications and not going too crazy, because this is a sign that you are desperate for money. Obviously there is certain things that will have a very detrimental effect on your score. So like bankruptcies, CCJs, if your house has been repossessed. So yeah, obviously things like this are going to have a massive detrimental effect. And I feel like it's important for me to mention here that I get a lot of people ask me like, how am I going to get a mortgage with bad credit? How can I buy a house with bad credit? And it's not for me to tell you what you can do in that situation. You need to speak to a mortgage broker and they'll be able to work with you and advise you on the next steps you need to take. I did do a video with my mortgage broker, Edward, and he explained what to do if you are trying to get a mortgage but you've got bad credit. So I'll make sure I leave a link to that in the description bar down below. But yeah, I'm not qualified to tell you what you need to do if you've got bad credit. That's just not me, like that's just not my thing. So check out that video with Edward. So what can you do to improve and build your credit score? So it's really important to keep an eye on your credit score regularly, and it's important as well because mistakes do happen. So you never know, there might be something on there that you can say, actually, like this is wrong, take this off my report, put my score back up. And also it's really important because say for example, you're thinking to yourself like, oh, next year I really want to buy a house. It's important to check your credit score because then you just know where you're at, if that makes sense. Like, you don't want to have any nasty surprises when you go to fill out the mortgage application and it's like, oh, well, actually your credit is shocking. So it's just important to keep an eye on things, really. But yeah, definitely say keep an eye out for mistakes. You never know what they might have on there that is wrong that would really help you out if it was just taken off your report. So yeah, but obviously if you know that you missed payments on something, then they're not going to take that off. Like, don't take the mick, do you know what I mean? So the next and probably most easiest way to boost your credit score is to get yourself registered registered on the electoral roll. Your electoral roll details are going to be recorded on your report, and this information will help lenders know that you are who you say you are, and therefore you get rewarded for it and your score will go up. Because obviously imagine if someone's applied and said they want to get credit with you, and then it's like you can't even find out their proper address, you don't actually really know who they are, they're going to be like, what the hell? Like, no. I guess it is kind of like an ID check. Another way to improve your score is to get credit. So even if there's like a mobile phone bill that's in your name or an electricity bill that's in your name, as long as you can pay it monthly and prove that you are responsible, then this will go in your favour and your score will go up. Now obviously as well, I'm not saying that people have to get credit cards and overdrafts, but this can also be a way to build your credit. But obviously don't forget about the credit utilisation that we mentioned before, and you need to be staying within 30% of your limit, otherwise they're going to be thinking that you are out of control. But this can be a way to increase your credit score, because if they see that you're able to pay it monthly, they're going to be like, amazing, congratulations, like we love that. I would say if you are going to go down that route, then it is so important to be disciplined. Like, if you're going to put things on your credit card, make sure it's things that you need to buy anyway. So say for example petrol, you need to buy that anyway, so if you put it on your credit card and then just pay it off monthly, then that will work in your favour. Don't be out here going crazy on your credit card and spending it on things you didn't need. Like, this isn't a case of like, oh, we've got a credit card, it's free money. No. And as well, another thing that can be detrimental to your score is financial associations. So say for example you and your boyfriend have got a mortgage together, that is a financial association. So if you're trying to improve your credit score but his credit score is really bad, then he needs to work on his credit score as well. Like, it needs to be a joint effort, because that mortgage is like a financial association together. And it's important as well, say if you split up with someone, to get financial disassociation, because obviously the last thing you would want is for them to go completely crazy, go and take out loads of loans, and then it has an effect on your credit score. So just make sure that once you break up with them, all the associations are gone. So yeah, and as well, like I said before, don't procrastinate when it comes to finance, because this can come back to bite you. So if there's things you need to pay off, pay them off as soon as possible, and set up direct debits where you can, so that the money just automatically comes out your account. But yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. Like I said before, if you've got bad credit and you want to buy a house, then it's so important to speak to a mortgage broker. Like, I can't give you advice on that situation. So yeah, but thank you guys so much for watching. Make sure you give this video a big thumbs up and subscribe so you don't miss anything, and I'll see you next time. Bye.